is July 8th, 2026. Walmart and Alliance, you need to pull it. A really bad guy's in there. Bad guy. Bad guy. Okay? I'm confessing. Tape and audio in every aisle. Got him. Okay, there's all kinds of people talking in there. Well, I know my apartment's bugged. I know my phone's tapped. And I know these people stole the login. Okay? So, I told you about when I was born. Yeah, how the doctor almost killed me and my mother, which caused my spine to be slightly misaligned, which made my legs pigeon-toed, which went into degenerative joint disease. It also did something to my nervous system that my muscles clench. And when I was born, I couldn't even swallow. That idiot used ether. There was a part until last night I left out. Because it is painful. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not. But my mother, she blamed me, being the baby inside of her. She blamed me. Not the doctor, not negligence, but the baby. The innocent little baby inside her. She said that I was too stupid before I was born to put my head in the birth canal. So that doctor had to go up with forceps and pull me out. I wasn't even in the birth canal. And he damaged her tailbone, which made her lose a lot of blood. And when he pulled me out, and she almost died. And it was my fault because I was too stupid to put my head in a birth canal. Not the stupid, ridiculous doctor that she wasn't actually in full labor. I wasn't in the birth canal. And he had no right putting forceps that far up inside her and pulling me hard. I Googled how could they damage a woman's tailbone? Okay? And it says that they have to reach up far inside the mother, wedge the forceps against the tailbone and pull hard to pull the baby down and out. You could have snapped my neck. My mother said I had deep bruises down my face and I couldn't swallow when I was born. Couldn't swallow for a long time. Laying in a nursery, I couldn't even swallow. Because of what that doctor did. And she was unconscious for almost a day. They couldn't get her wake up. She lost a lot of blood where he ripped me out of her. And, you know, my mom is a real drama thing. And, so I don't know. She wasn't even in real labor if I wasn't in the birth canal. Unless a baby is breech. You're not in the birth canal. You're not in real labor. You may have, the little premature labor. But it's not real labor. Which makes you wonder if she was screaming because she couldn't handle, like, the little, what they call them, Brand Hicks kind of fake labor pains. And she was being dramatic, and he knocked her out with ether, which kills the baby. Makes it lethargic, and they have to resuscitate it. And he literally just ripped me out of my mother. Almost killed her and me doing such a reckless stunt. And now here I'm laying in a nursery can't even swallow. And it is a side effect of being pulled on the head too hard. And it misaligns the spine and causes the legs to be pigeon-toed and cause nerve damage. I have nerves where my muscles clench up. It can also cause death from snapping the neck, cerebral palsy. I'm lucky you just misaligned my spine and caused my nerve damage that if I get in too much trauma, my muscles will clench for a while. He almost fucking killed me. She told me I was not her daughter. She had her 3 daughters. That I was too stupid to put my head in a birth canal. My father raised me. My grandmother, very elegant, sweet lady, prim and proper. And my sister, that's about 11, 12 years older than me, she said I wasn't a very good 11-year-old mother, but I tried. Because she was so mad, she wouldn't even name me. My father had to. As a child, hearing those horrible words come out of a parent's mouth, blaming an innocent child, was a great source of pain. But as I grew, watching the way she acted, I didn't want to be her. I do act more like my father because my father raised me. My sister and my grandmother. And I'm glad I don't act like her. You know, when I was little, I told myself if I ever have children, they will know always that I loved them. Always. And I told myself that when I was little, if I ever have children, my children will always know I loved them. You know, when my father passed, my stepmother, she said they described him as a hard, kind man. That is a beautiful description of my father. He was very strict, very hard. But he always preached empathy, compassion, sympathy for people that are in need. And to respect everybody else's life. And because my legs were pigeon-toed, children are mean. They are mean. And, you know, I remember being bullied, and I get this look on my face when I have to deal with stupid people. I can't believe you just said that. Okay? He walked up to me and said, Karen, wipe that look off your face now. He said, now change that look on your face. You can't fix stupid people. Okay. If he wouldn't have been as tough and hard on me, I wouldn't have survived these people. Where you resent your parents for being tough on you growing up, when you live through something horrible and they taught you to be tough when you were small, you thank God every day for them. Because they prepared you to live through what you lived through. Now, today is July 8th, 2026. Walmart out in Alliance, a really bad guy showed up. Really bad guy confessing. They tape an audio in every aisle. Some twit. Now I want you to think what he said. He said, I didn't know that girl that agent was dating was a prostitute. Yes, you did. And I found out she confessed in a restaurant that they hired drug dealers to do this to her. Yes, you knew it was drug dealers. Don't you think about lying. Okay? He said, otherwise, I wouldn't have started this with her. I wanted to make sure she could never have a secure job. A person like her. His victim. Your victim, you wanted to make sure I couldn't have a secure job. A person like me. Well, you're just a predator preying on people. And yes, you did know she was a prostitute. Yes, you did know drug dealers did this. And yes, you did know this was a drug scam. And then that idiot said, they've already put her through complete horror to teach her a lesson. We've already done that to her. I just didn't know when we started this with her that those were drug dealers doing it and that they had photoshopped that tape of weird with yourself. Yes, you did know. And it's a Photoshop of washing in the shower. Yes, you did. Yes, you knew. Do you think if you just claim ignorance, they won't put you in jail? You admitted you put me through complete horror. That you thought you had a right to teach me a lesson for being your victim. Do you realize what you confessed, you idiot? And I can have any kind of secure job. I have worked in banks. I have worked in loan companies. See where back in 24, we get done with her. She will never have a husband. She won't have an apartment. She won't be able to drive a car. We'll make her live on the streets. Who the hell do these people think they are? Demon-possessed people from hell. They don't have a right to put people through horror. You go to jail for that. You don't have a right to teach people a lesson. And you knew it was a drug scam, and you knew that girl was a prostitute. Don't give me that shit. And you knew they photoshopped that shower scene. They confessed back in 18. And they were drugging me and telling me to say stuff before. And they photoshopped all their lies. Raised some guy named Chris out of the room. From the first month of the case, a little old white man showed up where I had bruises. Woke up with another one, throwing up. Came up to me in front of the police and the FBI. For every idle word you tell on us, I'll turn it on you. Try to leave Dave, I'll list you a child molester. I'm like, who are you? He's like, you know that bruise on your leg? I use sodium pentothal on you. He stick me with a hypnotic drug in my sleep. Do you know how illegal that is? To break into a lady's home and stab her with a drug? You know what you told me? Now, I've never even seen this guy before. He stabbed me in my sleep, the dirty freak. You were wearing this one nightgown. You bent over him probably once, and they accidentally seen your butt and had a life of pain because of it. Try to leave Dave, and then threaten me again. That was their whole backup plan. That and photoshopping and washing. Then they came up with mean games to pretend. Then other people came up in front of the cops and said, this is 18. Where you had bruises before throwing up and infected. It wasn't the well water. It was us. We were drug beating, raping you. We had drugged you and told you to say this. We had drugged you and told you to say that. We photoshopped all our lies. We erased some guy named Chris out of the room. They admitted to framing me in 18. What was it, 1920? They admitted nobody talked to me in person. No man talked to her in person. No, we used Druser. No, they used hypnotic drugs and drugged me up and told me to say it before. So did they know that shower scene was Photoshopped? Yeah. Then in January 19, it was a feminine whitey above the toilet in the other room. Then March 1st or 3rd of 21, they put two clips together, put her in a porn. It's not her, it's him. Then later on, they were describing, well, they told March 13, 21, the nurse at Mercy Medical, the only thing they had me on was adjusting myself and simply wiping off water with clothes on. Guys like that, sick, said, no, it's funny, she just simply brushed it off. They didn't have anything else because their tapes are so altered. I would just brush something off. You can touch any part of your body with clothes on, that's not wrong. They had nothing. Okay? I spill stuff all the time, brush stuff off, everybody does. Okay? Then later on, they started saying stuff that never happened. You touch yourself, you expose yourself, you touch yourself, look weird. That made my stomach bleed. It's like, what else did you do to me? And then I got to thinking they're playing me. They said it was clips together. So maybe they put my head on somebody else's body? Or what would you be doing? If you touch yourself, you expose yourself, you're undressing. You touch yourself, you look weird, but not weird. You could be putting yeast infection cream on, or you'd be in the shower washing yourself. Showering, isn't it? Walk outside to smoke, she figured out what they did. That was 23. May 12th, 22 at noon, they found a tape of them emitting a shower scene in the other room. May 26th, 22 at noon, the shower scene was photoshopped on purpose to make you look weird. February and March of 22, in Navarre, they told my one client's neighbor that Pete ordered everything drugged, photoshopped, and made up on me. What else did they admit in 18? They were using a doctor that worked for the Florida drug cartel. By January or March of 19, that he'd never met me in person. And then we got, 8/9/21, December 9th, 21, January 19th, 22, February 2nd of 22 of drugs and told to say it. Then we got August 4th, 25, August 5th, 25, August 7th, 25, August 31st, 25, December 1st, 25 of drugged with hypnotic drugs and told to say it before. Midday and framing me, March 24th, 22. To November 23rd, 25. That this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was connected to him, so they asked him if they could do it to me, and he said yes if they made sure he got everything in the divorce. To December 1st, 25, Walmart 62 of that one Michelle that told on him to a federal agent March 27th, 25, that the doctor from before was not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of my doctors. And when they bashed in the back of my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent. It didn't work. And as soon as she told him, he broke up with her. The agent had even got it out of my ex-husband that he was letting a girlfriend from before me, where she made him marry me so they could get a job at my dad's factory, and so she'd have free insurance to use. The lady using my insurance was another girlfriend. For 15 years, half my medical records are hers. And he had got it out of that family that was running around telling people, why on earth would you tell people it offended you that Strange called her a faker. He didn't make it up for 6 months later, and she had nothing to do with that traffic accident that killed your kid. And said it didn't even concern them. They were all lying to the FBI when they were in there. Lisa's father killed her kid. They were all lying to help him get away with it. Which, March 20th, 26, an investigator from 18 comes in Walmart West House by the electronics and yells about how not funny this is, since that family even confessed that was telling everybody it offended him. Strange calling her a faker, that they were all lying to the FBI. Okay. Well, they threatened to kill that Michelle, the other Michelle, for telling them that was dating that agent. April 17th, 25, Carl heard her have a meltdown in Sheets parking lot in Hartville. That soon as she told that, she called up the place up there, and they said, how dumb were you telling that guy that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied, he was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And when they bashed in her head, they tried to kill her or leave her incompetent, and it didn't work. As soon as she told that guy, he broke up with her, and they said he's an agent and she's some kind of informant. They could all end up in jail for it. They admitted it up in Summit Mall, April 24th, 25. May 26th, 25. The cartel's talking about Walmart 62. May 30th, 25, the Louisville police have the tape of that, and that's this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemasons. April 24th, 25, the Texas group was talking about, tell that guy Will that was to pull off a scam here. That other Michelle told on him for the doctor from before not being one of hers, worse for them, and they had lied, he was one of her doctors. And the whole thing's a scam. That we said to take care of her, the whole thing's ruined. They threatened to kill her. She went badass on him. I'm so proud of her. Her and her friends told on him everything they were doing. December 1st, 25, an investigator came in. That other Michelle had showed up at his office. Said these people confessed this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was involved. And that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And that guy Pete running his mouth about her, she don't even know who he is. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. And the tape of Weird with Yourself is nothing but photoshopped a washing in the shower. And the whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Back in 21-22, they admitted they set up that agent to be arrested. Now, I want you to think of what that guy said. He admitted to put me through complete horror. Did a person like her, a victim, they're running a con on, a victim. Person like her, we didn't want to have a secure job. You're rape victim that you're running a con on? I didn't know that girl that guy was dating was a prostitute. Yes, you did. And she confessed in a restaurant that they hired drug dealers to do it. I didn't know it was drug dealers. Yes, you did. And I didn't know it was a tape of washing in the shower, Photoshop to make her look weird with herself. Yes, you did. We already taught her a lesson and put her through complete horror. I wouldn't have started this with her. Oh, you got his confession. He thinks he can put people through complete horror. Have me raped, tortured, skull bashed in so they can extort money from the government. One of the real bad guys was in there. I go to walk in, 2 prostitutes, 2 of the crackheads. Some attorney's office said that she's just totally crazy. Shut up. Shut up. Other people in there, nobody would say a word. We all found out how violent a birth she had that caused everything, and that her mom blamed her. Shouldn't be saying a word anyways. It's a drug scam from the drug dealers that are human trafficking people. They already announced that January 13th, 23. It's a big drug scam from them. And then other people in there, they said that the doctors already documented everything was medical malpractice and fraud before. Yeah, Dave already even told the cartel that. August 18th, 23. I'm up on Forest Grove Drive. Okay, in Akron. Up in the distance, some drug dealers are yelling stuff. A lady and a guy walks by. She said some of the drug dealers they've hired to do this, they don't even find it funny anymore. And the guy said, did she do anything wrong? She said no. The drug dealers already confessed they photoshopped everything and made fun of that BI for falling for it. She's like, none of this is funny. He said, are they going to do anything about it? She's like, I don't know, but none of this is funny. Those drug dealers already confronted her ex-husband. If he knew everything was documented as fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors that made her sick before, and that they encouraged them to sue those doctors for years. And he said yes. And he didn't say a word and let all those people hurt her. None of this is funny. Then I want to know what kind of fucking morons and demons of hell. Some idiot makes up a baby lie on you 15 years before. You have nothing to do with it. All they do is call you a faker. And they were already told. That's strange. Dave already told them that it was medical malpractice fraud. And it was medication making me sick. Told him that in 2002. Over 9 months, I slowly got well, learned to walk again, where my legs were so swollen and I'd fall. Now, he even knew, but he thought I was following Tim and Katie. And it was Linda following her husband. He made up a baby lie in 2003. It's 18 now. What kind of freaks hurt somebody that has nothing to do with those people? And they hurt somebody because someone called them a faker 15 years before to cover up his son's adultery? He didn't make it up till Linda came up to me and said, I was following him again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. Be careful. I'm sorry. I'm like, great. I'm going to get screamed at. We're supposed to not all know that they're cheating. How am I going to explain that one? No. He pushed my kid to suicide and made up a stupid lie to cover it up, get rid of me real quick. It was in November 2003. Traffic accident was in May of 2003. And I started with Dr. Eli in September, October of 2002. And I didn't get well till July of 2003. Had nothing to do with them. I want you to think of that. They had 6 to 10 surgeries. My muscles clenched up. Went to a bunch of crackpots. Gave me medication. I started swelling. I said, is it medication? No, you have underlying conditions. No, I didn't. Gave me more medicine. More swelling. I have degenerative joint disease. And the swelling got so bad, my knees would pop out of place and I'd fall. I have an MRI report showing the degenerative joint disease, fluid under the knees, swelling in the legs, a fluid-filled cyst on one leg, and pulled muscles on the other. And I looked up the medical diagnosis. I had microscopic fractures from those falls. The orthopedic surgeon put me in braces and kept draining my knees until all that swelling went down. I was in those braces even before I got off the medication, because my legs would, I tried to walk and my legs would go out because all the fluid. And then I started having heart attacks, seizures, thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. I almost died. And then my community health, when I went to them, they were lying so bad. They said I had level 2 brain tumors and my pituitary gland removed. And I said something to them. They're like, whoa, we need to have a long talk what those doctors are doing. There's nothing wrong with you, but your muscles locked up. Well, of course, I have PAVR, which my left side of my heart doesn't flow enough blood, so it'll go into tachycardia, where it'll race real quick, sit down, rest for a minute, it'll stop. And it's still a healthy heart, but the left side don't pull as not much. I did some research where they gave my mother ether, and they had to resuscitate me. You could even cause that. My thyroid, adrenal gland shut down, and where that doctor's like, we need to have a long talk what those doctors are doing. There's nothing wrong with you, but your muscles locked up. Of course, I have degenerative joint disease in my heart. But right now, the only thing that's wrong with you is your muscles locked up from all those surgeries. There's nothing wrong with you but that. You get off the medication, you'll be fine. Those doctors are known for lying. Known for falsely diagnosing people. Keeping you sick. So you have to keep coming back. She said, you got the golden ticket insurance company. They're ripping you off. They're sharing you with your associates and friends that are doing the same thing. And they're getting kickbacks from the drug companies. Get off the medication, you'll be fine. Went to Dr. Eli, he said the same thing. He said, the only way to get clenched muscles to relax is move them. But you're in so much pain, you can't even move. He gave me fentanyl patches. 100 times stronger morphine. Breakthrough Vicodins. Got too bad. And muscle relaxers. He said, as you move, blood flow will get pushed into those muscles, and then they'll slowly relax, and then we can build new muscle tissues, and you'll be fine. It's a medicine doing this. My community health encouraged us to sue those doctors for years. They'd represent us in court. They defrauded you. And they almost killed you. And encouraged us to sue them for years. They told the police and the FBI within the first 2 months of the case that everything was documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. And those doctors almost killed me. It's all wrote up as fraud. People were talking about that. We didn't know it was all wrote up as fraud. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I was in Louisville Stat Care, okay, with Carl 9 days ago, okay. It was last Monday or Tuesday. So what, June 30th, July 1st, June 30th, 26, July 1st, 26. I'm in Louisville Stat Care. The doctor that got done talking to Carl, okay, walked in a room, started talking to someone. I didn't notice her legs are crooked. Looked it up, she does have degenerative joint disease. I looked up her records from before, and everything is wrote up as fraud. Medical malpractice and medication errors. And I looked how sick she got. And there is no excuse those doctors didn't pull her off all those medicine. They almost killed her. No wonder everything is wrote up as fraud. And no wonder those other doctors thought she was dying. Because she almost died from the wrong medicine. Well, what did the investigators say about a month or two out in Alliance and Myers? After April 8th, 26, where that one nurse, how they were saying the FBI was showing up, making fun of me, and they had just picked up my medical records. They picked them up in 18. Investigators showed up who those idiots give her medical records to. Officer Mark picked them up in 18. And they already told him that everything was documented as fraud. Medical malpractice and medication errors. First month or two of the case, I went into my community health. I seen the investigators in the back room. They do have open cameras. You do sign when you start going there, that because it is a teaching center. Okay? They do have open cameras. Okay? And a doctor in front of Dave. That don't ever admit to anything those doctors said. They were all lying, ripping you off, making you sick with the wrong medication. It's documented that they defrauded you. And it was medical malpractice. It was a medication making you sick before. Said it in front of them. They used to say it every year. It's like, I know. Because I really don't have epilepsy, don't have MS, didn't have brain tumors, didn't have anything wrong with me but my muscles clenched. Now, of course, I have arthritis in my knees, and left side of my heart don't pull enough blood. Still healthy, but it just beats funky. Like I said, it will start racing, you get in the wrong position or something, and if it slows down the blood to it, it just makes it spasm. Calm down, you sit down, breathe, and then it'll go back into rhythm. Still healthy. Should have been fixed when I was a baby. Now, I want you to think about this. The FBI always knew it was fraud. It's documented fraud. They talked about it, what was it, December 30th or 31st of 23 in Altman Emergency Room, the nurses. That, my God, nobody ever backed the doctors from before. They were all lying so bad, ripping her off. Even said she had brain tumors. Nobody will ever back somebody lying, ripping somebody off, and making them sick with medication errors. Investigators walked by, all those doctors were lying before. Yeah, it was a medicine making her sick. So everything's already documented fraud. These people, now half my medical records, they got it out of Davis, another girlfriend. These people are Twilight Zone crazy. We have the right to drug her to get the truth out of it. No one has the right to drug you. And it's illegal to talk to somebody intoxicated. We had the right to have her beaten. No, they didn't. Psychos. These people laughed in my face. They paid off a dirty doctor from before to write up she was insane. It's like, shut up. What's really bad is they said they found the dirty doctor that wrote up fraud for Dave and was in it with Dave. It's like, arrest him, right? Mental insanity and mental illness is not curable. It's a deep brain injury. In 1867, back in the 1800s, when men didn't want their wives, they used to pay off doctors to write up shit like that. And then have them locked away, and they didn't have to settle with them in a divorce. They outlawed it in 1867, took it away from the doctor's hands, and turned it over to the state. It's called the Personal Liberty Law. Your doctor can't be in it with your husband, and they can't list you insane. It takes a stay in a state hospital. They have to get a hold of the courts. You have a right to an attorney. It is law and mandated, mandatory. You have a competency hearing, and it takes a judge. You can't just pay somebody to write up fraud. But these people are psycho. It's automatic fraud. And then it's illegal. No doctor can just write that up. Your doctor can't be in it with your spouse against you. That is a HIPAA violation and healthcare fraud. That's 20 years. They can't discuss you with them without your consent. And where they said, oh, we had an attorney, an opposing attorney, went to a doctor from before that was willing to talk to him. They both lost their license. It's on Google. They're disbarred, and the doctor lost their license. They can't talk to them. It's not only HIPAA violations, releasing medical records without consent, stealing documents, and then it's fraud on top of it, and healthcare fraud. And they took that away from the doctors back in 1867, 159 years ago. And they gave it over to the state to handle. You have to stay in a state psychiatric hospital. They get a hold of the courts. You have a right to an attorney to represent you, and it takes a judge. It is illegal for a doctor to be in with your husband speaking against you. And where they said there's a doctor willing to go to court, and if she tries to say anything, they'll say she's insane. They can't be with them. They can't tell people I'm insane. I'm not. Who do they think they're fooling? It's fraud. It's healthcare fraud. And the doctor just lost his license. The attorney lost their license. They can't talk to my doctors. My doctors can't talk to them. And they can't have them write up fraud. Now, half my medical records are Dave's girlfriend. They already got out of Dave. And you know he picks real winners. And we got stuck with the copays for 15 years. It wasn't random identity theft. It was deliberate. And a doctor can't just write that up. You know, investigators told people I went to visit someone in Altman Hospital. They were in there, and a guy's on the phone and walked by. It's stupid what's going on. She was never found insane. She never stayed in a state psychiatric hospital, and she never had a competency hearing. And you need to learn to mind your own business. Your health care records, your treatment, is nobody else's business. The doctors are sworn only to work for you and not disclose anything. The only time they are obligated to disclose, and only to the police, if somebody's being harmed. See, when I walked out, people were saying that, where they thought they could pull that with a doctor. Found out the state took it away from the doctors over 150 years ago. And it belongs to the state to do that. See, that's where I don't have a psychiatrist. These people are textbook crazy. Thinking that they could, like the investigators, they all thought they could railroad her. Have somebody write up fraud. They could enter it in court. She wouldn't know what they're talking. Just have her locked away and walk off with everything. It don't work that way, bitch. It's not the early 1800s. And no opposing attorney can even know my medical records. They actually show up with a fake doctor at a police station. They are to arrest them. By federal law, they are to arrest them. For HIPAA violations, stealing medical records, fraud, healthcare fraud, and they are to arrest them and put them in jail for breaking federal laws. I've never been in a state psychiatric hospital. I have never had a competency hearing. And I was never found insane. Today, also, when we walked out of Walmart's in Alliance, there was some lady off to the side. We found out that that girl that was dating that agent admitted they hired drug dealers to do this to her. And we're April 16th, 23. She was talking about that too. Where I'd been asking Danny if they knew about the shower scene in the other room. They're laughing at me in front of people in stores. They didn't know anything. And where they had bruises all over and throwing up and almost passing out. Did he know people were drugging me and beating on me? And they're laughing at that. They told me to say weirdo stuff in front of people in stores. He's like, no. And Jen, his wife, said, you know, Karen, I seen you like that. And I didn't think of someone hurting you. Kids came out of the room and hugged me. Grandma, we didn't know. April 16, 23, across the parking lot. After my daughter-in-law's mom had passed, they had a memorial service. I go to get in my car. I seen Danny and Jen walk up to my grandson, Gabe, and his girlfriend, Shay. And he was talking to him really loud. He's like, I finally went to Dad. I asked him what on earth is going on. He said he'd hired some guy named Pete on his own. Was Pete and his men in her home before? Pete has a frame, Pete has a tape, the filthy, dirty statement. I've never met him. It's the drugs and told us that. Some guy he hired. Where that lady said, we found out where that girl is a prostitute dating that agent. That she confessed that they hired drug dealers to do this to her. And her ex-husband said that he had hired some guy named Pete and his men to do it. It was some guy named Petey hired on his own. No wonder nobody would say a word to her. It was a drug dealer that did it. Well, Officer Mark told you that. August 22nd, 23. Kohl's parking lot between 1 and 2 in the afternoon. Or noon and 1. I'm out in the parking lot and he's talking to a lady. He said, none of this is funny. He said the FBI left her up there and we weren't allowed to tell her, and she had no help. Somebody started telling him nobody was allowed to help her. We don't even know who started it. We went back through all the surveillance. Everything Karen said happened, did happen. And everybody feels horrible for what she lived through. And it was a drug cartel in her home before we seen them. And I would sign an affidavit to that. And it's also documented and verified another woman was using her insurance. And it's also documented and verified it was medication errors that made her sick before. The police and the FBI already documented and verified all this. So for that idiot saying he didn't know it was drug dealers, bullshit. Bullshit, you didn't know it was a shower scene. You know, that's where in 21, there were some guys in the mall going, yeah, right, you didn't know they drugged her and told her to stay up before. Yeah, right, you didn't know they photoshopped that. And my yeah, right guy's back. Now, think of that monster from House, and a person like that, I was trying to make sure she wouldn't have a secure job again. You're a victim. You're a rape victim you were running a scam on to extort money from the government. Well, what did that prostitute say? June 26, 26. That it's my family doing this. They're stealing everything from me. We're teaching her a lesson because she's a faker. Yelling in Dutch Valley restaurant. The drug dealers we hired to do this to her, they've taped her washing herself in the shower and photoshopped that in the other room to make fun of her, to make her look weird with herself. Ha 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 ha. And my family's stealing everything from me. Psycho. July 5th, 26, 3 days ago, I was at a church. Some of the Stark County sheriffs were talking. She didn't know that girl in the restaurant that was screaming they were stealing everything for her. That's that agent's girlfriend that they're all talking about him having to steal everything and pay her to date him. I don't think people realize how big of retards they've made out of people. Some idiot said, the mind reader said she's weird with her, or the mind reader said she's weird inside. They made that up in 21 when they admitted to drugging me and telling me to say it before and photoshopping a shower scene. Well, we all know she never hurt anybody. She's just weird inside. You're weird inside. Do you realize how stupid you sound? And I thought, ignore. And I sat down. Well, I'm an FBI informant. I have investigators around me. If they have to make their presence known, they do. A guy walked out and around. They won't say a word to her. She had enough courage to walk in here. I had to take someone there that day. Was waiting out in the cafe. Some of those girls walked by me that some guys told us we're never to say a word to her. That some prostitute was laughing in a restaurant how they fooled everybody. And they've been stealing all the money for her. And these people already confessed they made everything up on her. And, okay. Well, later that day I get home and off in the distance there's a guy. The drug lord. Found out that guy they call Henry Mothy, his kid was laughing in a restaurant that his family was stealing all the money for his daughter. A person like that wasn't supposed to get a dime out of this. The drug lord only had her date that agent so that he'd have the case thrown out and the drug dealers that were arrested to sue the government for false arrest under fraud. She was only to date him to get the case thrown out so the drug dealers could sue for tens of millions of dollars for false arrest under fraud. She wasn't supposed to get a dime. So we're going to talk which drug lord. Is it for we all work for the king from Texas? We are his men. Dave hired us as the drug lord. You look him up. He's U.S. military Iraqi translator. Went into the dark web malware fentanyl gang. He's very real. Or where I was up in Hartville in December 23, January of 24, we had like below zero. I was having trouble with my car. Pulled over in an auto place. Okay, there was a heavy-set white guy with a long gray beard. He said, you know the human traffickers that were here? I'm like, yes. He said, where the bunch of police got together, where they were grabbing all these people, they were selling them out of some local hotels. The police got together, raided those hotels, and rescued those people. One of the young human traffickers was a young mother, had an 18-month-old baby. I didn't want that baby to grow up in foster care, so I adopted him. Talked that mother into letting me. I said, that was very kind of you. He said, I couldn't bear the thought of it growing up with the knowing that its mother was a human trafficker. And I said, well, my ex-husband got messed up with him. He said, did you ever see a guy our age, 50 to 60, okay? Tall, thin, white male with whitish blonde hair, clean cut, expensive dress shirt, sleeve rolled up, expensive dress pants. I'm like, yes. He grabs his chest. He said, you seen him in your life? I said, yes, several times. Are you okay? And I'm thinking I'm going to have to call 911. He's grabbing his chest. I said, are you okay? You don't know who that was. You've seen him in your life. I said, several times. I said, are you okay? I've had strokes before. And I'm like, are you okay? He said, you don't know who that was. I said, so are you okay? And he's grabbing his chest. He said, that was that Russian. Those people that they arrested in those hotels that were selling people, a lot of those were his people. And it was that Russian that was selling people here. You seen him and you're alive? And then all of a sudden these men show up, started walking around. He looked at me. Oh, he told me, he said, his men came in here. And he told me, he said, I'm Jewish. And they were saying stuff, and I knew what they said. And he said what dialect they were saying. And when they realized I was Jewish, You wouldn't believe the insults that came out of their mouth. I said, I know what kind of insults can come out of their mouth. I'm only like 1/6 Jew. I said, I'm a practicing Christian. I said, but my father's side, I said, they're Jewish descent. I'm actually German Jew, French and Native Indian, and Scot-Irish mixture. Okay? 1/6. I said, I know they throw Jewish slang at you. He said they may not like you if you have a little bit of Jewish blood in you, but they hate real Jews. They used to yell stuff at me. That stupid little Jewish girl thinks she can tell on us. That stinking little Hebrew girl thinks she can tell on what we're doing. It's like, yes. Some investigators think that one of the officers assigned to me probably has the same look as that drug dealer that was selling the human trafficker. But if not, he wasn't wearing a name tag of Russian drug lord. Not my problem. Unless you're seen with cops in uniform talking about the case, then I know you're undercover. Or they refer to you as an officer. You're not wearing name badges. Unless you're screaming something mean at me, I don't know you're a bad person. You're not wearing name tags. Like they said years ago, Karen don't know who's who. Well, some of my guys, I recognize them. And they've been seen with officers in uniform and talking about the case. I know they're investigators. Or police officers mentioning agent or officer, yeah. Okay? Then I know you're a good guy. Unless you yell something bad otherwise, no. I don't know you. So is it the Russian? Or is it the Iraqi that thought he could give a prostitute to an agent to seduce, to throw out a case, and then being a greedy prostitute, couldn't keep her dirty hands out of the money, talk that agent into giving her my money, her and her dirty family. That weren't to get a dime. You wait till that drug lord gets a hold of them. You know, when those drug dealers do some kind of heist or something, you put your hand in any money that was meant for them. May God help your soul. You know, I was doing research from that agent telling on me to bullying me online, and then leaving me up there and then taking my money. They have it set up that the case would be thrown out for him defrauding me. I came up with a way that they could save the case. If they wrote up, and I'd be willing to sign it, like people said they need to take her off, or that I was willing to be an informant for them so that they could get surveillance around me and on me, so that they could get these people they hired to harm me and others while they were here. Knowing my rights of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, that agent doesn't even have the authority to ask me to stay quiet, and that it would be illegal, and that he was only bullying me. Knowing the FBI would pay me for being one of their informants and compensate me for any injuries. And then they pay me and compensate me. It takes me out of being defrauded as a willing worker for them. One of their informants to a paid one. And it takes away what that agent did with fraud. Like the investigator said, that probably would work. I'd be willing to, and people even yesterday She's still willing to help the FBI after everything. The FBI found 6,000 children they took. 6,000 last year. Not counting the women, children. The amount of people, the cartels that they got off this, that helped run the scam on the FBI. We're talking minimum 1,000 to 2,500. Tens of $1,000,000 each of false arrest and fraud. It's going to cost the government $10 billion to $25 billion in restitution to them. And then they'll be free. And the victims they saved, they know where they're at. They could go get those 6,000 kids again. And then all the other people's lives that'll be lost. But me signing that I was willing to work for them, willing to let them surveillance me as an informant, and stay here while they got surveillance on me and around me, while they got information on the people they hired to harm me, and they were harming other people. Knowing my rights and the knowledge of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, that agent didn't have the authority to ask me to stay quiet, and that he was only bullying me, knowing that the FBI would pay me and compensate me for my injuries. Sign that, they pay me, compensate me, and now makes me employed. And a paid employee in a legitimate case. It's the only thing that will debunk the fraud. I'm going to upload this. I hope they take my offer. Other people are like, we hope they take her offer. Because it should fix it. But if they choose not to, that's their fault. I tried. And people need to stop saying crazy crap for Henry Maupey, his prostitute daughter, and their family, thinking they can steal from the government. And they even stole money where a drug lord had them order just to prostitute his daughter to the agent to get it, con him into throwing a case. They weren't supposed to get money. They're just greedy pigs. And it was for the drug dealers to get arrested, for them to sue for false arrest under him defrauding me. That's where somebody in the FBI needs to fix it. No matter who fixes it. You know, I am not a FBI agent John informant. I'm an FBI informant. I work for the agency, for the government, getting information on these people. As an informant, not for Agent John. Get the idea? Anybody in the agency can pay me. Write up that letter, I'll sign it. It'll take it out of fraud as a willing worker. And a willing paid worker that knew she'd be paid and was willing to stay and work. It should fix it. Like investigators said it should. I'm going to upload this.